Hey guys! Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jacqueline and this is Makeup Tales. Every week on Tuesday, while I do my makeup, I narrate a scary story. And if you're interested in scary content and love makeup, I suggest you comment, like, and subscribe. And don't forget, hit that notification bell so that way you know when I post a video each week. Also, I will be bringing you guys more scary content along with my weekly Tuesday Tales. I will also be releasing just solo narrations. No makeup, just narrations. So if you're interested in just scary content on Thursdays and Saturdays, I will be posting those videos. Disclaimer. The following stories are intended for a mature audience and may contain graphic depictions, death, gore, sexual themes, and adult language. Viewer discretion is advised. Today we're going to continue with Be Careful When Adopting, chapters 6 and 7. Miss Sutton did not look up from her drawing. She quietly started humming to herself, her long red hair falling down into her face. Outright asking for those questions wasn't going to work. "Do you mind showing me what you're drawing?" Softly and sweetly asking, making sure my voice was a pleasant tone, as if I was talking to a shy child. She slowly nodded her head up and down, placing the crayon down that she had been using to draw with. Then picked up the piece of water paper she had been drawing on, turning it towards me to show me her artwork. A tall, dark, shadowy figure with long talon claws that had bright red eyes, with spikes sticking out of the top of its head. It was surrounded by others just like it. It was in that moment I knew we had encountered the same kind of demon. I cleared my throat as I saw the paper, trying hard to hide just how scared I truly was. Still, even with showing me the picture, she had not turned to look my way. Her eyes staring at the side of the bed. She ran her pale, wrinkly fingers through her hair, pushing it back behind her ear. She leaned over close to me, never looking my way. "You know, one is standing right behind you, right?" she softly whispered. As the words hit my ears, I felt a chill run down my spine and goosebumps covered my skin. Her voice sounded soft. She seemed completely unfazed by what she said, as if it was completely normal for her. "Miss Sutton, what is standing behind me?" I asked as she stared at the bed. "The demon, sweetheart. He is right behind you. He wants to take your son away from you and will do whatever he can to have him for himself," she said as she looked at me for the first time since I'd been in her room. The lights in her room began flickering on and off. I sat there in front of her, kind of dumbfounded. "What do you mean, he wants my son?" Slightly tilting my head as I asked her the question, I definitely hadn't said anything to her or anyone here about me even having a son. I only spoke about my sister. Sweetheart, they all want him, as he is the chosen one, and will be their king. They will never stop coming for him, no matter what you do. Her voice began to sound strange. She began cackling as the lights flickered more and more, becoming faster and faster. The door opened and everything went back to normal. I'm sorry, ma'am. Your hour is up. You can come back tomorrow if you would like. Seems like you being here is doing Miss Sutton some good. The nurse smiled as she stood at the door. I turned my head back to Miss Sutton. She was sitting there like nothing happened, just smiling. Not knowing what to say, I stood up and walked out of the room. My head almost felt like it was spinning. We didn't talk as the nurse walked me back down to the front door. I just looked ahead of me as we walked. I thanked her for letting me see Miss Sutton as I walked out the front door. Pulling my phone out of my back pocket to call John, I leaned against my car, pulling a cigarette out to light it. Still trying to wrap my mind around what just happened. I knew I had to come back tomorrow. I needed to find out everything she knew. Hey baby, how did it go? Did you get the answers you were looking for? John answered the phone, sounding excited to hear from me. Even though I had only left this morning, for the last 10 years, we had never been away from the other for more than a few hours at a time. It felt weird to do this on my own. Looking down at the ground, kicking my feet around the rocks as I took a long drag off my cigarette, the wind softly blowing my hair around, letting the smoke escape from my lips before answering John's question. Kinda. It's hard to explain. I still have a lot of unanswered questions. No idea on how to find my sister yet. There's some things we need to talk about when I get home. Unsure of how to even try to explain what happened today. We said our goodbyes before getting off the phone. I put my cigarette out and began to drive back home. Turning on the radio to listen to music on my drive to keep myself awake. It had been a few long days since my world had been turned upside down and spun for a loop. Feeling like I've been on the most intense roller coaster of my life. Couldn't find a radio station to save my life out here. Nothing but static played as I tried flipping through the stations. However, the last station I could hear a voice. I thought it was a song trying to play, but I was slightly out of range for it to come in clearly. Hoping it would come in soon, I left it on that channel, but turned it down some. After a few miles, the voice became more clear, slightly standing out among the static. The voice was deep and raspy sounding. I turned the volume up some, trying to make out what it was saying. Joe, I know you can hear me. I will be taking your son. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't run, and you can't hide. I will even make you a deal with the devil himself. If you give us Stephen, we will give you your sister back, completely unharmed and healthy. However, if you don't, we will torture her until she is begging to die. We will make it a slow and painful death." I pulled over on the side of the road, tears falling from my eyes as I realized it wasn't just some random station playing some random song. It was the demon that wanted my son. My body began to shake as I sat there completely helpless, not knowing what to do next. I just couldn't give my son to some monsters. I also couldn't let them keep my sister. There had to be a way to keep my son out of harm's way while also getting my sister back from them. I sat there for a moment, trying to gather my thoughts, trying to wrap my head around what I just heard coming through my radio. It all felt like some horrible dream that I just could not wake up from. I turned the radio off and drove the hour back home. I sat there completely in silence the entire way. Too scared to turn the radio back on in fear of what it might say next. Thoughts of my son and my sister filled my head. I had to find a way to keep my son safe while also getting my sister back unharmed. There had to be something I could do. Finally, after driving for an hour, I pulled back into my driveway. Luckily, nothing else happened on the way home. The demon's voice was still stuck in my head like an old broken record. I was extremely happy to be home. I jumped out of my car, almost running up my driveway to my front door. John must have heard me closing my car door. He greeted me at the door, hugging me tighter than he ever has. We sat down on the couch. Stephen was already asleep. John wanted to hear everything about my day. "Come on, baby, tell me everything. I need to know what happened," John said, excited to learn if I found out anything helpful. They want Stephen. The demon said he would be their king. John, it's not just one demon we are going against. It's all of them. They will do anything they can to get him. Tears were welling up in my eyes. The thought of someone or something taking my son was absolutely heartbreaking to me. No matter what, I couldn't let them take him. But how was a mere mortal supposed to stop all of the underworld? The most evil of all evil were coming for our sweet little boy, whom may not have been an angel, but he definitely wasn't a demon, much less the one that could rule over all evil things in all of earth and hell. I couldn't imagine how they could even think or believe that he was one of them. A mix of fear and anger grew inside me. The anger was beginning to take over what fear I had. I've never been one to take shit from anyone. It might be a woman. I might be a woman and seem weak or delicate. Most people only see my soft and sweet side. However, I'm from the South. Everyone knows you don't mess with a Southern woman, especially a Southern mama. We will do whatever it takes to protect the ones we love. John could see my fear quickly turning into anger. So much anger filling in my eyes. Something most people haven't ever seen in me. He pulled me in close to him, holding me tight as I lay my head on his shoulder. Shh. It's okay, Joe. Everything will be okay. We will figure it out together. We always do, baby, John softly whispered into my ear. I knew in that moment that we would find a way. We would do whatever we had to in order to keep our son safe, while also getting my sister back. I could finally see the light at the end of the dark tunnel. Everything began to seem lighter and almost back to normal. At least as normal as possible. I pulled my head off his shoulder, leaning into him as I kissed his lips. The first real kiss we had shared in such a long time. The warmth from his lips felt so loving. He was so much of my strength, a big reason I always felt so strong. With him by my side and him having my back, I could do anything. He is my rock. We cuddled on the couch, just holding each other. Something we hadn't been able to do since everything started. It was nice to have a moment just to ourselves, a moment just to breathe. It felt like I hadn't been able to take a breath in weeks. However, as soon as I let the breath go, the kitchen cabinets began to rattle. I looked at John. We both knew exactly why it was rattling. We were no longer scared by it. Just lay there. I'll go get him, slightly giggling as I pulled myself up. I walked into Steven's room, and just like that, he began to giggle. I hope you enjoyed this week's chapters. Chapters 8 and 9 will be out next week. If you want to enjoy the story on your own, the link is down below in the description. This story has been written by Reddit user DarkMindAngelEyes. Don't forget to check out my socials. The links are in the description. Also, my email if you have a story you would like me to narrate. If you're interested in the products that I used in today's look, also, they're down in the description. And don't forget, new content coming, just scary, spooky content on Thursdays and Saturdays. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. And remember, stay spooky and stay glamorous.